Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to be sharing with you guys some of the dumb things that I have done while living in South Korea. We lived here for 2 years. By the time you're watching this, we are gone. We moved on to the next location, and I wanted to do a wrap-up video of all of the dumb things that I have done living here as a foreigner. And hopefully it serves you some good if you are coming to Korea. Don't do these mistakes. Some of them are just plain old funny. Some are no-nos. Don't do them when you come to Korea. Learn from my mistake. I can't believe it's been 2 years that I lived in South Korea. It's crazy. If you're new here, I have lots of Korea-centered content down below. So the very first thing that I wanted to mention, I feel like it's very important because I did not know this coming here. When the pandemic first started here in South Korea, we were in lockdown and it was my very first cherry blossom season. And cherry blossom season here is it's beautiful, guys. There's just like a good 2 weeks where they're in full bloom and they're everywhere. And I wanted to find a good location for pictures, and we were in lockdown. So I just went around my own neighborhood to try to take pictures of Logan with the cherry blossom trees. Where we were parked, there were these like mounds, like little humps of grass throughout, and it looks beautiful, and I had no idea what they were. So I thought they would serve as a good picture backdrop. So I started taking pictures of Logan on them, around them. I put some props by them, and I uploaded the pictures to Facebook. And really quickly, my realtor sent me a message that was somebody's grave. And I was like, what? Like, that was somebody's grave? So here in Korea, they're called burial mounds, and they are all over the place. And after I got that information, I started researching, and now I see them all over the place. So they bury people here in these burial mounds, and they bury them standing up, and then there's a big like hump over it that they put grass, so it just like blends in, but you see this giant hump, and that's somebody's grave. And that the family comes and, you know, cuts the grass every so often and keeps it nice. But that specific mound didn't have like a plaque, it didn't have flowers around it. I didn't see anything around it that signaled that it was a grave. So I was very confused and so ashamed. I quickly deleted those pictures that showed it in full like form, because I really did not know that was a grave. And that was definitely the very first moment that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in a different country. Things are so different. I cannot believe that I just showed disrespect like that, because to me it felt disrespectful because that's somebody's grave and we're just using it as a prop to take pictures. I feel so bad about that. So learn from my mistakes. They are all over Korea. So you would, especially like in the countryside where we lived in Pyeongtaek, there's tons everywhere. You'll be riding your bike, riding your car, and you just see some on the side of the road. So they're called burial mounds, and they are graves. So avoid those. Second dumb thing that I did while living here was definitely losing my car keys. I thought it would be a good idea to take Logan and I up to Seoul for a few days, and we stayed in a hotel. We took public transportation like during the stay, but when we were coming back, I decided to do one last trip, and that one last trip cost us because I lost my car keys in an underground mall here in Korea. The worst part is that I lost them trying to look for a specific location, and I was walking just all over. I was walking so much trying to find this place that I couldn't even trace back my steps. So I totally lost my keys in a foreign country. I was 2.5 hours away from my own home, and the car was 3 floors below a skyscraper in a very tight spot, because the parking here underground, it is so tight that I'm like thinking, how am I gonna get that thing out of here? Like, do I get a tow truck? Like, where do I get a tow truck? I was panicking, I was crying. I tried to ask workers for help. They sent the police over. After waiting like 15 minutes for them, they basically told me and obviously a communication barrier. They told me to call my insurance because there's nothing they can do. They told me that typically in Korea, if somebody sees something laying around, they don't pick it up, they don't return it, they don't try to help. They just leave it where they saw it, and that it was pretty impossible for me to get my keys. They didn't offer me to like look at CCTV or anything. I can understand it's probably a headache to gather all that footage because I was everywhere. So I had to take public transportation back and leave my car stranded in Seoul, and then it was a quest to get my spare key and go back to get my car. So that was definitely a dumb mistake on my part. Now my keys are glued to me. I am constantly checking, like, do I have my keys? Because I don't want to go through that again. It was so scary, and I was by myself. So now another thing that I've done here, I have gotten stuck in a lot of parking garages because here it's not typical to go somewhere and there's open parking available. You have to park underground. Typically, like if you're going to a location and it's inside of a building, the building has parking, but it's underground. And I have gotten stuck in those underground parkings many times because it does not accept foreigner cards. It only accepts Korean cards, like credit cards or debit cards. So I have gotten stuck because they don't accept cash. So if it doesn't accept my card, I can't pay and I can't get out. So there's been plenty of times where I've just been on a hill like this, stuck because I can't pay. I've had some locals help me out. I gave them the cash and they used their cards. I've had to call the little helpline a bunch of times, and they've let me go but told me not to do it again. But there's no way to know, honestly, that I've seen where it says they only take Korean cards. So it's kind of a gamble when you go to the parking garages if they're gonna take your card or not. So that has definitely happened one too many times, and I can't wait for regular parking because that was so stressful. There's nothing more stressful than feeling like you're holding up the line in a parking garage. But so thankful for the locals that did help me, or the operator that answered and just let me go. Now this one happened like days from us moving here. I was trying to get change for a vending machine, and there was a machine next to the vending machine that looked like it gave you change, okay? Why else would it be right next to the vending machine, right? So I put my $10 bill in there to get change, and what do I get in return? I get a phone card to do international calling. It was next to the vending machine. Who puts that next to a vending machine? So I got a $10 phone card that 2 years later I still have in my wallet. So that was just $10 wasted. I really thought it was gonna give me change for the vending machine that was right next to it, because what else would it be? A phone card machine, I guess. So yeah, I lost $10. It was like days from us moving here. This one is very important, and don't do it because it will cost you a lot of money. Here in Korea, especially in the highways, they have specific lanes for buses only. They're literally, there's a blue line on that lane. So you can see that is a bus lane, and they do that so public transportation, obviously it's faster, because in places like Seoul, there's so much traffic. So the blue lane allows the buses to go faster and not have to be stopped. It's a whole thing. Well, Mr. Elvis didn't know about the blue lines, and he was driving back from Seoul one day, and he was like, nobody's driving on this lane. I'm not gonna ask any questions. I'm just gonna drive, because why else will no one be driving on this lane? So he took the blue lane all the way. We got a nice ticket in the mail. So do not drive on the blue lanes, specifically for long periods of time. You've been warned. Now, using Gmarket, which is like the Korean Amazon, I was trying to purchase a bike trailer for Logan in the back, so I could just attach a trailer to the back and he can sit there and we can go on and about our business. Gmarket, although you can put it in English and search for items in English, it's tricky because the description, it is all in Korean. So you would have to, like, for me, I would have to take screenshots of that, put it on my translator app, try to like translate everything to make sure that I was like getting the item that I wanted. But this particular thing, I was searching for so much that I just went off of what the picture was showing me. So I thought that I purchased a bike trailer, and that thing was like $150. Okay, so I was like, yeah, that's the bike trailer. The picture's the bike trailer, and it's $150. That seems like what it would cost. So I purchased it. 2 days later it came. I was so excited. I look at the box and I'm like, there is no way that there's a bike trailer in there. And Lord and behold, I opened the box and it was the wheel, the front wheel to the trailer. So I bought a $150 wheel for a trailer. And then I'm like, what? So I like searched for, I kept doing more searching, and that trailer was so expensive. I was like, no, if the wheel's $150, I am not paying more money for the trailer. So luckily I was able to return it and get my money back. But I was like baffled by that. I was like, how can I do that? But yeah, that's what happens when there's a language barrier and you don't do more research, I guess, and you just blow $150 on a wheel for a trailer. Man. Now this one is just plain old culture shock, okay? Because we went to Lotteria, which is a fast food restaurant here, and we went through the drive-thru. There's not a lot of drive-thrus in South Korea. That one specifically had a drive-thru, and we were in a hurry, so we went through, and we couldn't communicate with them. So we pulled up to the window, and they gave us the menu, and we were just pointing and ordering that way. Well, I saw some delicious looking onion rings. Some onion rings, you know, they're circle with the padding and fried. So I thought they were onion rings. Have you ever ate something or bit into something expecting a flavor and it was completely different, and it's the worst feeling. It is the worst feeling, okay? To bite something thinking it's gonna taste one way and hit you with a different flavor, and you're like, whoa. I took the biggest bite of that onion ring, and it was a squid ring, okay? It was squid. I was like, what? They do this here? Because I wanted my onion rings. I don't like seafood. I'll eat shrimp, but seafood is just not my thing. And I bit that thing. I took the biggest bite of that thing. It looked so good, and it ruined my dreams of eating an onion ring. And I'm like, you know what? It seemed too easy. It seemed too easy to get that in Korea through the drive-thru. So that's what I get. Squid rings in Lotteria, not onion rings. Now this one, it's more of like a more frustrating dumpling that I've done. There was a light lantern festival in Seoul that we wanted to go to, and we thought it'd be a good idea to take public transportation. We took a train or something like that, but we used a taxi to get us to the final destination. He didn't understand a word that we were saying. We kept trying to show him the light festival thing on our phone. He didn't understand. So I quickly just like searched it on the GPS. I just put like the lantern festival. He took us somewhere and I didn't see. I'm like, oh, this doesn't seem like it's the location. But he's like, yeah. He got down. He's like, this is it, over there. So we're like, okay. So we get down. I'm like not trying to waste his time. So I'm like, okay, Elvis, let's get out. And Elvis is like, I don't think so. But he still listened to me, which he shouldn't have. And we quickly realized that it was the wrong location. We were walking for so long. We walked for like 30 plus minutes to get to the light festival. If you get in a taxi, just make sure that it is the location, because once that taxi leaves, it was hard for us to get a different one. This one is so funny because throughout my stay here, I've gone to my share of locations that either shut down or moved. I was trying to take Logan for his second birthday to a kids cafe. There's tons of kids cafes in South Korea, and I thought it'd be really fun because it wasn't a weekday to take him to a kids cafe. So I'm searching. I finally find one. We go to the location. I park underground. I'm all excited, like hyping Logan up. We go to the building. We go to where it's supposed to be. The elevator opens. It's looking a little suspicious, but I'm still booking it to try to go in, and as soon as I go to open the front door to go into the kids cafe, a guy comes out. He's like, no, leave. And I'm like, huh? Like, I'm so confused. He's like, this is a casino now. It's a casino. It's no kids cafe. And I'm like, oh, okay. They turned it into like an adult only casino location thing. He was very adamant for us to go right this second, like, just go, book it. And I was so confused. So yeah, trying to find kids cafes that day was a little struggle. It was so funny. I can't believe, because most places here in Korea, like, they don't really update their hours online or even like put that they moved, and it's so annoying. So I go to places and they're closed, they moved, it's a holiday, I don't know. It's always a gamble. The kids cafe turned casino. That was an adventure. To my last dumb thing that I've done, and that kind of segues into it. I have gone to so many locations. I have traveled such long ways to go to locations, and they are closed, or they moved, or it is impossible to get to them. So yeah, that's just dumb things on my part because I didn't do further research. Then I started getting smart. So if you want to go somewhere, my advice would be to look up the most recent reviews. If there's any reviews around your timeline, then it's still open. Try and call the place, get somebody to help you call in the place to see if it moved or if they're open, because it will save you so much time and effort, because I have done it so many times. I have traveled so much to go to specific places that are just no longer, or they moved, and I didn't know because of the language barrier. So that is the last thing that I'm going to be mentioning in today's video. I hope you found this video helpful or entertaining. Luckily enough, there's no more things that I can think of that I've done wrong here. I would say it's pretty successful. You know, I really didn't do a lot of research before moving to Korea, so from not doing much research, I think I did pretty good. What do you guys think? But if you're moving to South Korea, enjoy your time here. I hope that you create lots of fun memories just like we did. Like I said, I have all those videos down below of all of our content that we did in South Korea. I'll link it down below. But thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.